Welcome to part two. I'm just waiting for Terry to join us. Very interesting discussion so far. Wonder what everybody's thoughts are on it all. You know, the Joshua situation. Is he shot? I know he is. If Terry says he's shot 6.5 out of 10, trust me, he's shot. But he had a good run, hasn't he? He had $250 million out of that job. No, Eddie's done all right out of that job as well, hasn't he? So it is what it is, isn't it? So we're going to see what happens, what appertains. Let's get my shake. Yeah, we're going to see. Huey's out on 4th of April. People were saying it was Dan Gerber, but it's not confirmed. It's apparently it's TBA, but we're going to see. It's Huey needs to get a move on, I think. But politics, isn't it? Boxing, politics behind the scenes, and all this nonsense that you get. Just bad in bad taste, in my opinion. You know, kid only wants to get on, doesn't he, Huey? Wonder where Terry's gone, where he's going to have some food. What about Huey against Dave Allen? People keep talking to me about that. It's a good, interesting fight, isn't it? There's plenty of fights out there for Rhino, isn't there? He keeps his son fit. We're going to have to see, aren't we, what appertains. Come on, Terry, what you doing, lad? What you doing? Turkey and Dana. Just in the loo, Russ. Okay, Terry. Terry's in the loo. Hey, you should lay off them curries, Terry. Big shout out to Gary and John at Welcome Estates. Hope you're well, chaps. So, hope you're well. Joshua Parker. Good discussion that. I've hammered it this week on that one, though, haven't I? They need it, though, don't they? But Jake Paul, Joshua. Eddie's saying he could see it happening. My God. Well, they gave us Joshua and Garno, so you won't put it past them, would you, really? Imagine that. Joshua versus Jake Paul. Jesus, right? How would they pull that off? How could they con us all for that? It'd be unbelievable. Terry, oh, you've took Mickey out of here. Joshua's doing his John Coffey impression, isn't he? Terry, have you seen Jake Paul's Instagram today?
Is it the one with the call from Anthony Joshua?
Yeah, Eddie's saying he can see it happening down the line. What is all that?
Mate, come on, man. Like last week, what was Eddie saying? Joshua can only get himself motivated for two fights, Fury and the Dubois rematch. Do you remember he said that?
Yeah.
Now we're supposed to believe
you gave us Garno.
Yeah, like you can't fool the public twice. Come on.
They couldn't do that. They couldn't give us him against Jake Paul. Could they? Where would that leave boxing if they did that?
Boxing's in a hole already, Russ. Everyone's just trying to get the last pennies they can. Like Turkey sussed out that boxing's finished. He's just accelerating the process so he can take it over. That's all he's done. All these fights you guys are watching now is designed to strip all the value out of boxing so that when he then goes, I'm thinking of walking away, people go, no, don't do that. We'll take less money. And then that's all people will get, less money.
He's laying foundations, he's drawn them all in, hasn't he?
Well, I mean, this is a game you knew well, Russ, is it not? Right? You get people hooked on the product, and then they're beholden to you.
Oh, trust me, mate. Trust me. When I had a massive habit, my dealer moved in over the road from me. What you done that for? He says, save having to drive 20 miles to see you 4 times a day, Ross. I was like, all right, brilliant, mate. Sound, welcome up onto the street. How a long time ago that, way back east. Yeah, I see where you're coming from with this Turkey situation, but do you feel that he slapped them all in face? Bricktop, Oscar De La Hoya, Aram, Eddie Hills, all them, and then just said, you know what? I'm going to partner up with a guy that's never worked in boxing. I mean, he must have had a look at them all and said, you lot are not for me, do you think?
No, I think he's been fair. He said, you lot have got 2 years to get your act together. That's what he said. You got 2 years to get your act together. You've got 2 years to show me you're still valuable. And if you're not doing better than this Dana White guy over here, I'm taking all of this money to Dana White.
Well, he has, hasn't he?
Yeah, but Dana's problem is this. When you apply the UFC model where it's like fixed persons for the fights, you're only going to get people who want to earn that money. All the people that want to earn more money will just be like, nah, we'll just do it ourselves. So I think, look, if you look at what they're talking about with this TKO boxing league, who would really go on there? You'd jump on there if you're Liam Cameron, right? A guy who can fight, who can do 10, 12 rounds comfortable, who's entertaining, an interesting character, but Liam will never earn 10 million in a fight. But Liam Cameron could fight 5 times a year, pick up 300 grand, 400 grand, 600 grand, because the fans would love him. So I can see guys like Liam Cameron doing it. Who else could I see doing it? A guy like Zach Chelly, I could see him doing it because he'd earn more on there than he would boxing on small horse shows here.
Yeah. I've looked at that, and I don't know if that's going to take off me. I just think they might just be just another promotional outfit in boxing. Do you think?
It feels a bit like The Contender, doesn't it?
Feels what?
It feels a bit like The Contender.
Yeah, it does.
Because they're saying they're not going to do their first show till 2026, Russ, right? So they've got a year to find people, or just under a year to find people. Some of them are going to have to train up, I imagine. And then they've got to start working out what the scheduling's like, getting the finance in place, booking venues. And that's going to be hard, you know? So I think it's a long way to go. People have tried to do other stuff in boxing. It's never quite worked because fans want to know they are watching the best fighting the best. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. And another thing as well, right? They're not them purses they were talking about. It weren't like what they've been paying them for the last couple of years, were it?
That was never going to last. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't. No, it wasn't, because imagine you start out in boxing and you don't really know anything. You know you're going to get your pants pulled down. And then over time, Turkey's probably finding out what other promoters are paying their fighters. And he's like, I don't have to pay that much. I only have to pay $1 more than the other person's paying.
It's all gone a little bit pony though, hasn't it now, Turkey's plug? Everybody's like retreating. Eddie's like, well, I don't know, I'm going to stay in game. And Spotty Frank Smith's like, well, you know, I think I'm going to get a bar abroad and that and just chill with my investments. It's like, if they can't be having it off and creaming 20% for shows they're not even putting on, they're not interested because they've had it too easy, haven't they, you see?
Yeah, but Hearn was never going to stick around. I've said it before.
Yeah, you
Don't
have,
be
yeah.
surprised. Yeah, mate. Don't be surprised if Hearn ends up running for leadership of the Reform Party.
I just think that Eddie has had enough now. He looks tired and beaten up, Terry, doesn't he?
Mate, it's a world that he created. Remember all those years he was like, no one's going to outwork me. No, it's impossible. I'm the hardest working promoter. I create for my fighters. No one's giving more opportunities than me. I'm the main guy. I'm the global promoter. All the stuff he was saying, it's a lot harder to live at 45 than it was at 35.
Yeah, it's looking like Eddie has had enough. And Bricktop's just getting stronger, isn't he?
Yeah, well, remember, he's been planning for this since about 2020 when he was lining all these people up, right? He was lining all of his guys up and he was signing loads of really good kids. And he was like, I need to be at the front of the next wave of boxing. Because he realized that there was a certain wave of boxing, like the Joshua stuff, that he missed out on, right? He just missed it. So he's like, let me plan for the future. And now it's bearing fruit. Or as Adam Smith would say, it's paying dividends.
Well, I just think that Eddie's got no fighting. I mean, Frank Smith's even defeatist in his interviews now, isn't he?
Writings on the wall. Who have Matcham really got apart from Joshua? Who have they got that you want to see?
Well, I got Crusher Ben, haven't they?
Okay, a man who's never won a meaningful title.
We've got Sky Nicholson.
Well, she's doing all right, but I think she's being well looked after for a reason.
What would Eddie do, though, Terry, if he had to leave boxing?
He would join Reform and he'd become a politician, like Luke Campbell.
You think he would? Luke Campbell, is he a politician?
Yeah, he joined the Reform Party.
You know what?
Mate, he can't even say the word candidate. It worries me.
Luke Campbell, Jesus, eh? The man with a Commonwealth title.
Unlucky not to win a world title, in my opinion. Unlucky.
You think?
Yeah, he was unlucky. If you look at the guys that Luke Campbell jumped in the ring with, did he jump with Linares?
Well, I just thought Luke Campbell only won a Commonwealth on his record. That's all he's got in it.
Yeah, but did he fight Loma as well?
Yeah, I think he did, didn't he?
And he fought Ryan. He was in really good company. Do you know what I mean? So I can't be mad at Luke Campbell because at least he rolled the dice. He may have come up short, but he came up short to really good people. So credit to him, Olympic gold medalist, done his bit for the country. If he runs for office, I get it. He's like, look, I've won a gold medal for this country. I know how important, national pride is. I get all of that. But you got to know how to say the word candidate, if nothing else, mate. Like, let's start with basics.
Yeah. It's just that when I see people like Luke Campbell wanting to be politicians, I always think it's not going to end too good, mate.
Nah, once you start doing all the hustings and people ask you awkward questions, you get found out. Do you know what I mean? So I wish him all the best, but politics is a dirty game, mate. A dirty, dirty game. You doing push-ups, Russ? Are you doing push-ups?
No, I've just dropped my dinner and picked it up. Would you have a go at being a politician?
Pardon?
Would you have a go at being a politician?
Can you imagine the nonsense I would get, mate? I would be hated, right? I would and it wouldn't be fair on my family. Like in some ways, I wouldn't mind the job, but it wouldn't be fair on my family. Like they wouldn't have signed up for what they'd get, and they'd get a hard time, in my opinion. But I'm also stupid enough to try something like that. So you'd never say never, but I wouldn't want to put my family, my friends through it. Imagine the newspapers coming round and talking to your crackhead mates and going, look, I'm sure, you can tell me some dirt about Terry. And then they're like, you offer me a lot of money here and all that sort of stuff. And a lot of dirt would come out. And
what could I say, Terry, that you drink You're like several branders after boxing.
Man, you know me, I sink a few, mate. That's for absolute certain. Makes me a man of the people.
Yeah. The White Rhinos got the rematch with Elmer Fudd. What do you think?
How serious is Dave Allen? Because this will tell us everything we need to know about Dave. If Dave doesn't end the Johnny Fisher hype, I don't want to hear about Dave Allen ever again. This is Dave Allen's only job, is to end the hype train that is Johnny Fisher.
Yeah.
If he can't do that, he's not serious about boxing.
Mm. Well, I mean, he's out there at Gary's in Spain. I'll go for sunning it up and training hard. So, baby, so let's hope
Hey, where's my Spanish love, Gary? Come on, man. Like,
that.
I'm
Hey,
the only one here. I'm out here starving, man. Like, come on, help me out.
Peter De Freitas is leading for 100 quid this month. He's battling cancer, but
Yeah, because you get me in at the end of the month, man. I never get I don't get the full 30 days. February, you had me right at the end, Russ. Remember this? You had me right at the end of
well,
Feb.
when you won it,
No, when I won, I think I started earlier. February, I got the end of the month. I was like, he's Judas me. Yeah.
well, won
Now
it,
I'm
who won
doing
it.
it on
Oh,
the 20.
Anthony won it, didn't he? Anthony Austin.
Yeah, I'm like, hold on. I'm doing it on the 21st now. I've only got 10 days.
Yeah, but it dies after about 5 days. The videos they go like that on graphs, and then they go like that. So it's on. A stitch up would be to bring you on 28th, 29th or
I'm
something.
sure you did that in February. It was like that in Feb.
And do you know what? I don't think you'd have beat it anyway because he jumped on Anthony jumped on a trending story. He just timed it right, didn't he? With the bar and that, him pulling
Yeah.
out. But it's just a bit of fun amongst the chaps,
Yeah.
isn't
You better be putting Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua in our
it? Our
titles in order.
thumbnail. Oh, it's tight. Do you think that'd happen? Do you?
What?
Joshua
No.
and him.
Um, he'd have to fight someone before. So let's say, for example, he fought Usyk, beat Usyk, and said, I'm just going to go and have some exhibition fights and retire. Then I'd get it, but you can't go from getting beat by Dubois the way he did to fighting Jake Paul. Like you can't, because that would have been Ngannou, Dubois, Jake Paul.
Mm.
I mean, you'd shred any credibility you had.
Yeah, but do you know what? When he got in with Garner, they just wheeled Eddie out to front it out and said, well, everybody said he beat Fury and he dropped Fury. They sold it on back of that, didn't they?
Well, you said that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Well, they did though, didn't they?
Yeah, and
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 I thought he beat Fury anyway in Garner, didn't you?
yeah. So he's earned for me, and Ngannou earned the right to have another fight in that kind of situation.
Well, he's still got the Fury rematch locked in on a contract, hasn't he, on Garner for 2 years?
2 years got to be coming up this year, right?
Yeah, it's nearly over now, isn't it? But point I want to make is that he shocked everybody, didn't he? But Fury didn't come in good nick, did he really? So it was his own fault, you could say, couldn't you?
That's when you knew the decline was in. That's when you knew everything he had done up until that point caught up to him.
Yeah.
I don't think the Fury of 2018 would have entertained any of that. I think he would have stopped and gone it.
But what you've got to understand is when Fury were getting 12 million to do that WWE stuff, and he got all that money for Ngannou, and Turkey palled them up at the beginning, didn't he?
Yeah.
They're just guns for hire, aren't they? Now, him and Joshua are just living off the names now, aren't they, for the rest of their lives? They'll always have money coming in. And it's a bit like Ali come back and fought Larry Holmes, and he got offered 8 million, didn't he? Then, and old
Yeah.
Don short changed him by 1 million, but they're going to dine out off just the names, though, aren't they? Joshua and Fury. They're going to be stronger, faster, quicker than a speeding bullet. I've still got something left, and the last thing you lose is your power. Do you know all that bullshit that come out with all these promoters?
Yeah, but Russ, let's say Porky's Corner is doing 1 million views a week, right?
That'd be 4 months.
You're not coming off that horse anytime soon. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like, no, I'm hot right now. I am hot. I am boiling hot. I'm not coming off this horse until these numbers go down to 10,000. Like Chisora said this: as long as they pay me six figures, I'm going to keep boxing. When they stop paying me six figures minimum, I'm going to stop boxing.
Yeah, because he didn't want to do it for buttons, does he, Chisora?
Yeah, he's done it before for buttons. Like I remember hearing this, and I don't know if this is truth. I'm going to say it's a rumor. He only got 100 grand for fighting David Hay.
Yeah, they got 100 grand for fighting David. Are you joking me?
No, that's what I heard.
Wow.
And I heard that through someone I know who was with Chisora's girlfriend at the time because they worked in her boutique. And so, yeah. So I think he was offered like 1 million to start off with, right? But the number just kept coming down and down and down until Derek was almost not going to fight.
Jeez, that's not a lot of money that for a big fight like that, would it? They had
Yeah, there you
thousands
go.
there, didn't they?
What's the other one I heard? So I don't know if this one's true or not, but this is kind of one that's bubbled up recently. That they'd offered Hamza Shiraz 400 grand to be that Riyadh season ambassador, right? And they only gave him 100 grand. And so Hamza Shiraz has seen Turkey, and Turkey's basically said to him, mate, we gave you 400 grand to be ambassador. And Hamza's like, I only got 100 grand. And Turkey's kicked off. And that's why you don't see Andy Ailing on the scene anymore. Apparently, Andy Ailing took the fall for that, for pocketing the 300 grand.
He's off at the scene, isn't he, Andy Ailing now?
Yeah, and that might be why.
Really?
But all alleged, just saying, it's all alleged.
Yeah. I remember him and Chris having a bit of a do on phone, Chris Smedley over, I think it was Robert Money or something they were owed. And they were calling Chris a tarmacker or something on phone. Chris says, here, I'm going to come down and see you and punch you upside down, you. And they were
Yeah.
on the way down. I'm not sure what it was over. I think it might have been something to do with Nicky's money. And it was purse money or something. Anyway,
That's like when you two were
Bobby
talking
Warren
before
sorted it
Stokes.
all out. Bobby Warren sorted it all out. So
Yeah, he's a good
I'm
man.
not, me and him don't get on, but what he did, he sorted it all out with Chris. So
You and who don't get along?
me and Bobby don't get on, do we?
How come?
You rung them up, didn't he? Asher's showroom next door saying, you take my family's name out your fucking pie hole, you Northern Monkey and all that.
Yeah,
And
you're in old
they come
school.
running out at showroom next door, and he went, that bloke's on phone again. I went, what bloke? He went, him. I said, you're not phone here. Who's this here? Him on it, Bopper Bobby in his Crombie and his Chelsea boots. Uh, yeah, so it is what it is. But he did sort that out for Chris
Yeah.
and they all got sorted. So respect to him for that. But Ailing were giving it the big one, giving it the large, weren't you, Ailing? Chris said, who are you talking to you?
He said that to you as well.
Hey?
He said that to you as well.
Yeah, me and Chris had our only ever before. Like it's funny actually because we're really close mates. Like when he come in, did all tired and that. But yeah, and I didn't mean anything by it. He got offended. I said, yeah, I think I'll go get my centre trainer's license. If Chris can do it, I can do it. But I didn't mean to take any shine off his. It's obviously he'd be a 10 times better trainer than me. He's got experience, hasn't he? But I think he took it wrong way than I did when he rung me up and we were at loggerheads, weren't we?
Mate, it got serious.
It got
Those
very
voice notes got
serious, didn't it? Yeah,
serious.
it got very serious, yeah, but we're all right. Dennis were like, oh, Russell, what are you doing? But
Mate, you went full Braveheart. You're like, listen, there's nothing you can do to me. You could put something through my heart, mate. That's how you'd have to get rid of me.
I'm running around with machetes.
Yeah. Mate, you went full Braveheart that night.
Chris would have been as well, and I would have had his lads there. They would have been a full scale war, wouldn't it? I would have probably got took out. But yeah, listen, this is what you know. What boxing's so tense. You know what funny thing about it is that night I've been out with Dennis. We went back to his house, and Dennis were trying to make Liam Cameron against Curtis Woodhouse, and
What?
me and Dennis were pissed up, and I had an argument with him. And I went, yo. I remember going. And I was pissed. And I got in my car and I went. And then Chris rung me up. I thought that was my pal. What you fucking on about? And he's gone, what you on about? Saying that if Chris Medley can be a trainer, I can. It was pissed up bollocks, wasn't it? And he didn't drink. I did, obviously. And it just got out of hand and nearly World War Three. But no, it's all right. I love Chris to bits. He's a fantastic bloke. And he's got a show on 29th, Chris. Amateur show. Hey, Quinn Hammond's doing really well, you know. You know the kid that we back, South Yorkshire Packaging.
Well, it's the nationals now, right? We're international season now, so
Yeah.
yeah. So we'll see him bubble through the regions, I guess.
But he's 20 now, Quinn, and he's punching harder than he were when he was 18. Really, and he's really doing really well. Chris is very impressed. He's got a couple of big kids in there as well. There's obviously, you know, his son passed away, don't you? Well, there's Luke Jr., the son of Luke who passed away, God rest
Yeah.
his soul. And I think he's 16 now, and I think he's won a tournament or he gets a final. So he's doing really good, Luke, and obviously as he lives with his Chris, his granddad, but he's doing really good, and I'm really proud of him, Luke.
Yeah, no, I say like guys like Chris Medley are the core of British boxing, and we're getting fewer and fewer Chris Medleys. Because the thing about Chris is he's one of the handful of trainers that every 3 or 4 years he's going to give you 5 kids that could be British champs.
Yeah,
he'll have those cycles. A lot of coaches are just hot for a minute, right? They get lucky, they get a big kid, and that's their reputation, right? But there are guys like Chris Medley, over what's his name, Graham over at Bertley, that can just churn them over. Even like Travis at Moss Side, every few years kicks out a few really good kids.
you want to go on to part 3, Terry?
All right, mate.
Well, I'll see you on part 3 in 2 minutes, yeah?
All right, great.
Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. Please join us on part 3. We'll get some interesting talks going, interesting topics, should I say. Pop, pop, bang.